So I've had the most epic leg day and I recorded it for my first leg day to go onto YouTube. And I wanted to talk you through everything in the gym while it was happening so you could get the experience of training along with me. However, that did not go to plan because the music was just so loud. I'm going to get pinged for copyright. So I've tried to play some music on top of the music to blur it out, and I'm using unlicensed music so I won't get done for copyright. And it can sound a little bit weird. I'll appreciate that if that's just too annoying. I'm going to leave a timestamp right here on the screen to fast forward to, where the music was just so loud at one point I just muted it and I've gone and dubbed everything over on top of, like you've seen me do in the previous videos. But it is an absolutely amazing leg workout, so let's crack on with the video and I'll see you in a few minutes when I'm back for the dubbing.
What is good, guys? Here at Meritor Fitness for my first recorded leg day. It has been far too long in the making. Of course, I've always thought, why on earth would anyone want to see a men's physique guy train legs? But legs are now judged in men's physique, so we are hitting legs hard. Not that I ever haven't. As you can see, the leg development is sort of always been there, but it's even more of a good sort of motivation, shall we say, to really train legs hard, knowing that there's more purpose than just me personally loving to have a balanced physique. I now get judged by someone else about it. So big leg day today. The setup is pretty much, I have 8 exercises for a thigh isolation. I call it thigh, not quad, because I count my adductors as a part of that thigh. 8 isolation for my hamstrings, and then 8 compound movements. So let's crack on with the workout and I'll see if I can talk you through everything as I go along. Full stack. Let's see how this feels. Another thing, I don't like holding handles here. I don't. Like really getting my lower back in, I actually put my hands between my legs and kind of split the this pad in between my index and my thumb. I just anchor myself in place here. I like to control that negative into a nice big stretch. Fuck, I lost count. Potentially 5. Maybe again. I'll have to look at that footage. A bit more. There we go. So I do stop when I can't fully get that contraction. So there, you probably couldn't see because of this angle, but I couldn't fully get all the way under. And that's when I stop. If it's, you know, you just gotta be honest with yourself. If you messed up because you just weren't concentrating and, you know, you're just fanning around, then yeah, go again. But that, I couldn't actually finish the rep, so called it.
So that is going to be my last attempt to film audio in the gym, with the exception of when I do collaboration. Speaking of which, I am in the process of getting a British classic IFBB pro to do a collaboration with me. And so make sure you're subscribed to not miss that out, because that will be going on my channel. So if you want to find out who that is, you'll have to be subscribed. Right, so moving on to single leg hamstring curl. I used to like doing this first before I'd do the seated hamstring curl, just because I wanted to make sure both hamstrings were firing equally. And you know, when you do a double leg exercise, same with doing like a double arm exercise, you don't know if one side's taking over the other. So there was a problem, of course, when you start with a single leg. One leg is slightly more tired than the other because of the amount of rest time in between is going to be different. So one leg has, of course, been rested probably a minute longer than the other when you start off with a single leg exercise. So I just had to swap that back around and just make sure I'm fully warmed up so everything is firing nice and well. But here we go with the single leg hamstring curl. This is a really good machine. As you can see, I like to bend forward when I do it. I do feel, not that I do feel, this has also been proven by science, but I'm not too into the science when it comes to bodybuilding, because you just got to find what works best for you and not just what the science tells you. Like, if it works for you, if it works very well for you, do that. Don't just blindly follow what some scientist thinks is best for someone with a group of people with very different genetics to you. Like, you can't compare that. You have to know what's working well for you and then apply that to your workout. So stretching a muscle, however, like, the more the muscle can stretch, generally the better it is for hypertrophy. So bending over like this will stretch the hamstrings more, which means you get a better contraction, or not necessarily better contraction, but a better stimulus is the word I'm looking for. You get a better stimulus for the hamstring growth. Now, of course, I'm just playing with the angles here, as now I'm not talking anymore. I'm just going to just have a collage of images going through what the exercises look like, instead of just filming everything straight sets all the way through and talking through it, or talking in between the sets. So pretty much every exercise today is going to be between the 8 to 12 rep range. Of course, 8 is like the absolute minimum. I am aiming for the 10, and 12 is normally like the first exercise for the day. I can, you know, I'll aim for 10, but if there's more in the tank, then I'll get the 12 instead. So we are moving on to the first quad exercise after doing 8 sets of isolated hamstring movements total. So four sets on the seated with both legs, and then 4 sets single hamstring curls as well. So moving on to quads is the same, another 4 sets of quad extensions. And the way I like to set this up, because I feel my VMO, which is your teardrop of the quad, I feel that's the weakest part of my quad. I have a lot of thickness on my upper quad, but not so much down where it connects to the knee. So I like to set up as you see here in this image, I am putting the plate specifically so it's the hardest when it's most, when your leg is most extended. So at the peak contraction is where it's actually at its heaviest, and that's how I set up the machine. Nice and out of focus here. Good old filming issues. They're non-stop today. So yeah, you can see a little bit better here with the way the machine is set up. Being a prime machine, you can load the top, the middle, or the bottom. So I like having the middle pin loaded the most, which is a nice even distribution, and then I just add on some extra weight at the bottom just to make sure that that peak contraction is the hardest and really contract there. I am trying my hardest to pause as long as possible at the top, but the weight is just too much, and I'm not even doing a pause. In my head, I thought I was pausing, but there's no chance there. But yeah, I am trying to really, really fully straighten that leg, get as much peak contraction as possible when it comes to quad extensions.
Right, we're finally onto some compounds, the first compound of the day, going with the Gymnaco pendulum. Pendulums I love-hate because it feels good when you're finished. When you're in the middle of it, it absolutely sucks. But we're gonna load this up, hopefully get some good weights. Knee sleeves are gonna come out now. Protect my knees. Getting older, getting achy.
So the gym music playlist ran out and I had just a moment there to have a little talk to the camera while it was nice and quiet. But pendulum squats coming in here, and again, this is another 4 sets. My first set, I actually only got a 7, so it was a little bit too heavy. And again, this is just gonna be a collage of all of my, all of the angles and images that I tried to take together, because it wasn't a very good, it wasn't easy getting these images because the gym was, it's a tight gym. There's lots of equipment everywhere, and this is against a wall, so I can't like have it in front of me either. Anyway, so pendulum squats, these are amazing. And as you can see, I really do like this because of the depth that I can get. I can basically sit on my heels here. And that's what I like about it the most, because having as much knee bend as possible does mean you get the sort of maximum activation of the quad. That's why I really do like pendulums. I opt for pendulums over sort of any kind of leg press first, just to really, really focus in on getting as deep as possible with the reps. Now, pendulum's one of those exercises where you have to really want it to actually get to failure, because 9 times out of 10, your last rep probably isn't your last rep. It's just the rep that hurt so bad that you had to pull out, which, being honest, I have a few of those, especially when it's a 4-setter. I do sort of get quite scared with the first couple reps, first couple sets, that I'm just gonna break and not be able to finish. Okay, moving on to leg press. This is actually a hip press, I believe it's called, because it is the horizontal sort of leg press. And I don't know why it's called a hip press, because this hits your quads very, very well. Again, as you can see, how much knee bend there is going on here does just, again, show how much quads activation there's going to be as well. So I do remember I had a pretty hard fail on not just 1, but 2 of these hip presses. So they will be coming up soon. But this is another exercise that I absolutely love, because you can just sit in it and just press and press and press until failure. You don't have to worry too much about failing a rep, which is why you actually can really push yourself to failure. Whereas failing a rep on the pendulum, when you get pinned into a pendulum, you can really hurt yourself. So that's not quite the case here. There it is, so that was the fail. And slowly after, I think I do a fail again, but you can see how much effort you have to put into this. But I love that kind of stuff. That's what I do like training legs. They just don't respond as much as my other body parts do. So 8 sets total for the compound movements, even though they were very quad focused. And then finishing off with 8 sets of adductors. Again, the same sort of rep range, that between sort of 8 to 12. And I think what's really important when it comes to adductors, again, is the stretch. So I'm very inflexible, so it doesn't look like I'm stretching much, but the stretch here is my maximum stretch, and I do feel that is important when it comes to the adductors. And that is my full leg day. So I did try my hardest to give you guys the experience of, bringing the camera along, talking to the camera, to sort of see what it will be like to train with me as I go along. But it just did not work out that way. I also found out that I find it very hard to switch between talking to a camera and then going back and focusing on my sets. I can talk to a person absolutely fine, but for some reason talking to the camera is completely different for me. I guess it's because it's not a conversation anymore. It's me just talking one way to a camera. And it was very distracting, I'm not gonna lie, when I came to do my workout and my sets, that I then had to start thinking about what to say between sets, to be like, oh, I want to talk about this next, I want to talk about this next, when I should have just been focusing on, just doing the fucking set properly. So I'm not going to mess around with audio anymore. I am going to keep to my old style of just working out and then come back and audit my workouts as I go along and dub it and go and talk about everything sort of that I'm thinking of during my sets, but I will wait until I get home and then tell you here in the studio what is going through my mind at the time of the set and not having to relay that information as it's happening. As I said, it's just too distracting. And I have no idea why there's a difference between a camera and a person, but that's just the way it is. My brain is kind of messed up that way, I guess. Let me know in the comments what workout you guys want to see next. And if you have any ideas on who I'll be collaborating with soon, drop in who you think it might be. But that is everything for today, guys. Let me know if you like this video by hitting the like button, and I'll catch you in the next video.